Hey Chantal, this is your Pinterest Power Up After video. I just wanted to go over, I know I sent you an email, but I wanted to go over some of the changes and things that I had made and kind of explain the theory behind them and steps for moving forward with continual appointments and upkeep and organization and stuff like that. So the first thing I hope you notice is that the board covers are all nice and bright and reflective of the board titles now. I changed them to, try to not be so variable in the color schemes and contrasts. Sorry, you can probably hear my daughter's crying. She wants me to hold her. So I tried not to change the colors up too much or, go from light to dark because it's easier on the eyes to do so, or to keep it, sort of consistent and cohesive. So like if you scroll down here to like all this where it's a bunch of different, it's darker and it's jumbled up and it's, words are chopped off and there's people in some, and it's just a very big, it looks less cohesive and more of a mess. Then, this up here, which is nice and bright, and like I said, the colors are all very similar throughout. Okay, so that's the first thing, is visually, making it more cohesive and not so distracting for, viewers that are scrolling through. The second thing is that I did was working on the board titles so that they're more searchable. So if you actually type in, like, if you start typing in mom, you'll get mom quotes, mom gifts, there's mom tips, it pops up, mom tips and tricks, mom tips and parenting. Anything that pops up in this, you could do mom advice even, mom advice pops up. But anything that pops up in that that search bar and that commonly searched for phrases are good for searchability. So it means that the people will find you because most people will start to search something, and if it pops up, they'll just click on that suggestion. If it doesn't pop up, they'll keep typing. But 9 times out of 10, something's going to pop up and they're going to click on it. So if you can use one of those things, you're going to optimize yourself for search better. Then within that, we have other keywords. So say they didn't put in mom tips, they put in mom advice or mom articles or mom tricks. Well, these words are in here too. So that will still help pull you into those search results because they're in the description. Likewise for, let's go to like the sensory activities. You used to have this board called like sensory bins, buckets, and fun. So instead of doing that, we just make a general title, sensory activities, and then we break it down into sensory bins, sensory play, sensory bottles, sensory craft projects, etc. So this is an example, I'll lead into it. Another example, when I say more topic-specific focused boards, I mean that this board itself has 648 pens, and that's a lot. I don't usually recommend going over 300 on a board. And if you get to, if you're starting to get into the 200s and mid 200s, I say, start pulling some of those pens out and put them on a more specific board. 300, you should definitely split it. So, there's just a lot of pens to go through. It's just pages and pages and pages and pages and pages and pages and pages. The other thing I noticed is there's some duplicates in here that I've noticed on your boards, and then there's some things that are like articles, and they're not quite sensory. So it's just very mixed. They're not all activities. Some are sensory articles, but because we only had 5 hours to work with, I had to leave that, and I worked more on optimizing your research, and the organization can happen, a little bits over time or whatever later. So anyway, I added in the keywords, and so for a more topic-focused board, what we might do is go through and we might make a whole board just for sensory bottles, and we go through and we'd find all the sensory bottle pens on this board, and we would move them to that new sensory bottle board. So then that you now have a new focused board, so when people search for sensory bottles, you're actually going to rank better rather than if you were just had some sensory bottle pens on a more generalized board like this one. So it's still good, it's still optimized for search, but when you get real big and you have a bunch of different types of sensory activities, in order to optimize you even further and get that more targeted to an audience, you want to try to get those on more topic specific boards. you have plenty of content to be able to do that at this point. So there's the biggest things that I worked on. I also worked on making I kept telling you, like an intelligent flow, for lack of a better word. I mean, it's not that there's any word, any flow that's non-intelligent, but it's just not jumbled up. So basically what we've done is we've started with, I always try to make the first board, like the season, the first board or the first couple boards, the season or holiday specific boards. So we have Father's Day coming up, so you want that board to be the first board that people see. And then once the holiday's over, make it secret. And then next year you can bring that out, a month or whatever in advance of the holiday or the season, if we're talking about like Thanksgiving or fall or spring or whatever. And then just bring it out in advance and then retire it again back to secret. That way you can pin to that board all year round if you find ideas, but you don't have to keep it in your feed all year. Because it's just one more board that's taking up space, especially when you have a lot of boards for people to look through, and it's not relevant all year round. So anyway, we put that board first, so it's sort of like your seasonal holiday highlight board, then your blog board. Then from there, I kind of started with like mommy things, so like pregnancy, mom tips, parenting, and that sort of naturally flows into the books, the printables, fun activities, and then it naturally flows into types of activities, Lego activities, STEM activities, sensory activities, and then what broke that down a little bit further into Play-Doh, foam, and slime, and then we made crafts, and out of crafts we got rainbow inspired. So it just sort of very, very well flows. Now there are sometimes breaks where like this rainbow inspired creators and this party ideas and inspiration, those are definitely different. So what I usually call this first board, whenever it's in a line of similar but more specific types of boards, like so we have this fun activities for kids board, that's like your category start board. So like we started with the flow with like activities for kids, and then we've got like these more specific category boards. Now we're starting a party ideas category, and we did little girls tea party, pirate party. I converted this from your pirate food board because I actually noticed there wasn't a lot of food on it, but a lot of other stuff too. So we made it a pirate party board. And then again, we only had a couple of those, but we went to cooking hacks, and then from cooking hacks we went down into dessert decorating, and then from dessert decorating into desserts, and from desserts we flowed it naturally into food recipes, and we flowed through all those recipe boards. And then from recipes we went to health and fitness as a category, and then products and things that sort of relates to all health and fitness, all these boards right here. And then these are the boards I didn't really get to right here, where the inspiration and all these boards right here are the ones I didn't get to. So it's more than 5. I thought it was only 5, but it looks like it's actually like 6, 10, 12, 13 boards I didn't get to. So we didn't get to these as far as like editing titles and descriptions and board covers and stuff, but the majority of your content we did. So that's what we did for the 5 hours. I did spend, like I said, nearly about an hour splitting one of those boards, which was actually the STEM projects and crafts board. All these 155 pins were picked out of this science board down here, way down here, which still has over 1,000 pins on it. So really what I wanted to do was like to be able to break this down into weather science and earth science, nature science, physics and chemistry experiments, engineering experiments, things like that. All types of things that would go on the STEM board, but they're not technically labeled as STEM. So anyway, your science experiments for kids board is still down here. I thought I'd left it secret, but I guess I didn't. And then you have all these other secret boards that I didn't really know. Like I said, I put your seasonal boards as down here, Halloween and pumpkin and New Year's and things like that, like I recommended. But I did put a couple other things down here that was like they just don't quite fit your current flow, and they could be made to fit. This one just didn't have enough pens on it, only 24. I recommend minimum of 25 to 30, but with just so many other things, I just took it out because it was interrupting the flow. Kids in school equals fun. I wanted badly to work with this, but it needs some desperate organization, and a lot of these pens can be redistributed to other boards like the printables and the parenting advice and things like that, because it doesn't have a lot. It's just very miscellaneous. Same with the pretty shiny things, very miscellaneous. And I just, with the titles and things like that, that's more of that's more of a board that's personal to you, I find, in my opinion. Things that you like or things that you enjoy, and that belongs better on a personal account, but not maybe so much your blogging account. If you want to recommend these products to people as a blogger, I guess that's your prerogative in your business, but I just made a secret for now until you can think some more about that, about what you want to do with it. Same with the wedding inspiration. You're a mom blogger, so typically, while I'm not saying there's not single moms out there, unmarried mothers, this just doesn't feel like it's within your niche to me. Niche, I don't really know how to say that word. It's just a little bit far reached for me. So I made it secret, and again, that's up to you whether you want to introduce that back in or anything like that. But it was just sometimes one board, when it's just one board on a topic, it feels very out of place. When it's just sort of stuck in the middle of everything else, it doesn't really seem to relate to that. But if you can make that like a series, like if you could have a couple different types of wedding boards, then that would be okay. But again, it's very wedding focused, and that doesn't seem like it's quite what you write about, and it doesn't really seem like it quite flows. It's just quite a bit of a far reach. Plus, you've got so much other content anyway. I mean, you're not really missing anything by losing that board. Okay. So moving forward, I would recommend that we need to seriously, and I say we, but like I said in the email, I'm offering you continued services. If you would like to continue working with me, great. If not, or you need some time to think about it or whatever, that's fine. Or if you want to try to do it yourself, I don't know how busy you are. That was up to you. But what I do recommend doing is continuing to take some of these trends that we've started and fix these other boards down here that I didn't get to, as far as the board covers and the titles and the descriptions, and then start splitting these boards. And I mean, that's just going to take a lot of time. I pulled 155 pins out of the 1,000 in an hour, and it takes so long because I have to scroll through every pin, the entire board, just to figure out, which pins I'm moving, and you can only select 50 at a time, because Pinterest has a limit on that. So it just takes a lot of time. That board could ideally be split further, like I said, so that we're talking a few more hours, and that will, yes, create several more boards out of that one board for you, but it's one board essentially that we're working on fixing for hours and hours. So I don't know how you feel about that or what you want to do. I personally also feel that some of these recipe boards are redundant. Like, you have a lot of sweet treat boards. You have the sweet treat, like this one was titled something else, but I named it Sweet Treat, and the yummy desserts. But yet I don't want to combine them because there's like over 4,000 pins there total. So, if we could break them down into cakes, cookies, brownies, and bars, popsicles, and things like that, that would be better. But again, that's going to take hours and hours to split all these pins out, just because of the large amount of content that's already there. So we're kind of going backwards a little bit and redoing some structure. And it's going to be the biggest thing for you. I don't feel like you have a problem with everybody can always expand their reach with the search optimization. That should definitely help you. But I don't feel like you have a problem getting followers or getting likes. You're constantly having notifications up here. I think you had over 200 at one point. So, really, you're talking about taking this blog or this Pinterest to the next level and helping your blog and stuff. I just think some organization, structure, and optimization is going to be the biggest thing for you. And it's just going to take a lot of time. It's just going to take lots of time. So if you have any questions about all this, or you want to talk about moving forward with just continuing this, like I said, the structuring and the organizing and optimizing, please reach out to me. You have my email address. It's been a pleasure working on your account. I will honestly say it was a little bit of a challenge for me, but it was a good challenge, and I really enjoyed it. So I love everything you have on here. I actually followed you from one of my other Pinterest accounts that I just started a couple weeks ago. So I like the content that you have on here, so it's good. It's just a lot, and it just needs to be so organized. Okay, so with that said, I'll let you go, and I hope you have a great rest of the week. Bye.